Yo, what is going on? We're here live on YouTube. We'll see if live on Twitter's working. I don't know if it will, though. Maybe. Happy freaking Friday to ya. We got some wild shit to go over today. I'm just making sure all systems are good. Let me know if you can hear me and all that good stuff. You should be able to. Inshallah. Inshallah. I don't actually know what that means, and I'm half Lebanese. I probably should. Is it like, if it happens, it's good? I don't know. But we got some wild shit to look at with Mark Kern's epic Crashout. Life is ruined. No, it's not ruined. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. But let's take a look at his epic Crashout. Let's see what Mr. Grums is saying. So this starts till today, or starts today rather. He went on a crazy Crashout against a dude named Airbagged. He thinks that, like, everyone to get him is airbagged. Hey, a box of balloons. I think it means God willing. Grub's Crashout stream. Let's go, Simon. Absolutely, man. Mark Kern's life is ruined. Absolutely. It's probably ruined for a long time. Suspect accused of ruining it appears to be Mark Kern. Yeah. Yeah. And we got Cum's legendary developer of the actual game called Ember, which is wild. So let's go back to, what was he starting at here? Did he delete it? No, he didn't delete all of it. He did delete some tweets, I think. I could be wrong, though, but there's definitely enough here to go by. Again, I could be wrong. He talks about the Hydra strategy. And look at this Crashout tweet. Jesus Christ, did he get Gronk to write that? Was he Gronk until he grumsed? What a guy. Airbag banned again. Hydra strategy foiled. It's been thwarted for the past 24 hours. To be honest, I don't even know who the real Airbagged is right now. There's so many Airbagged accounts out there, so I'm just kind of watching it happen. Who is he? How did he get banned? He is Antifa. Is he Antifa? Is he Uncle Tifa? I don't know. Bad joke. But yeah, apparently Airbagged is part of a decentralized anti-fascist movement. Goes by the playbook and is very good at it. Focuses on gaming and the culture war. Almost sounds like Grums. Just the other side of him. But he's also trying to go in war against Trump and Elon, mostly by targeting supporters. What does that mean? Commenting on them? Giving reasons that he disagrees with them? Is he threatening violence? I don't know. He's been arrested once for Antifa riots and is a main agent attacking people. What does that mean? So he was arrested. I think he's got a criminal record for what is it? I don't know. Vandalism or something like that. Something to do with some kind of riot. I mean, there's worse charges that people have. I mean, didn't dude John Dela Rose, I don't know if he was actually convicted on it, but some wife beating stuff, or I don't want to make assumptions. Something not good. Something not good with violence. But hey, people have their past, whatever. Assisting and promoting their docs. What the fuck does that mean? Assisting and promoting doxing, like Smash JT. I think I know what he's talking about. When the court documents came out and Alyssa sent them out, they had Smash's address on them, which I don't agree with. I didn't necessarily think that was necessary by any means. And Airbag is like, check out whatever page it is. I mean, sure, he assisted in promoting docs. Darker, I can't help but laugh at a little bit of this. Darker tactics like coded violence through creating hammer GIFs. It's his personal symbol. It's a restraining order. No conviction. Yeah, I figured. Sidon, how you doing, man? Yeah, it's, people have their past, whatever it is, but I know Airbag did get a conviction for whatever he did. Yeah, and I don't believe John Dela Rose had a conviction. It was something. But people have their past, whatever. I get it. Attacking sources of income and trying to destroy and cancel people through his proxies. Trying to understand what proxies are. Rarely does the dirty work himself to avoid bans, relying on alt accounts and his network of supporters to fight for him. He doesn't have a huge account, though. I think at his peak he had maybe 40,000. I mean, that's coming from a guy who has 3,000 or so. He engages in information war psyops. His favorite tactics is called poisoning the well, where he finds major accounts that are winning in the culture war and attempts to turn people against them by discrediting them with repeated lies. Now, I won't disagree with Grums on part of this. And it's stuff that I haven't participated in, like the breast milk shit with Grums. I do think stuff like that actually poisons the well. It's kind of funny. Don't get me wrong. But when people think it's reality, it does distract from the real issues with Grums. So, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with spreading misinformation just because you don't like someone. Especially when the truth can be pretty fucking damning on its own right. So, I don't disagree with him there. This was kind of funny, though. I do remember this. He bought a Firefall jacket. I want to use him in a thumbnail for a video, though, with it, because it'd be kind of funny. Disgruntled Red 5 employee creates a great visual. That was kind of funny. I don't see a problem with that. He is admittedly very good at this. Claims he engineered it against my own account. I don't know what that means. Maybe he was trying to fuck it with him. Maybe that's what it meant. Hey, Cotton. Doing good, man. Doing good. Playing lots of Robocop today. And thank you, everyone, for hanging out. I love talking about these things. I find them interesting. Something I don't think I've shared with people at a high level. My background is corporate education, and I'm passionate about it. I love helping people, empowering people with knowledge and letting them do what they want with it. That does it for me. Not preaching at people, none of that nonsense. But hey, make your own judgments, and I'm curious, what conclusions you come to. Education's a cool thing. Main tools are social media, streams on Twitch, and I'm pretty sure, although his streams on Twitch are kind of culture war stuff, he's big into games. I know he games like crazy. Sid says, might have been a DM. I'm just trying to catch up with the chat there. Should buy that cuck game for the lulz. It's funny, it's free too. The breast milk stuff was funny, but yeah, it dodges actual shit. Hey, Rosemary. Welcome. So I do know he's big into games. Rotates invite code. I don't know about that. I got an invite to the server. I believe the only things I've ever said in it was, hey, I thought your ban was bullshit. Because I don't know what he did necessarily for that ban. I could be wrong. I can't keep up on everyone. But I do think banning people off X is bullshit. What's up, Luke? The Goongast. After the most recent ban for ban evasion, because you know what? If I talk through it, if he was, they could get him for ban evading. He did it for making a death threat against a pregnant woman. I think words are important here. He said kill yourself. That said, it's nothing I'd ever say to someone. Nothing I'd feel right about saying to someone. I just, I know shit like that happens in, Call of Duty lobbies and shit like that. It's just never been something I've said to someone. I don't want anyone to kill themselves. Rotating invite codes for a non-public server, extremely common. It helps prevent bots. Yeah. Doesn't it do it automatically? Because I know, problems I've run into is on my own Discord server. The links I probably have in the description for this video or other videos is wrong because the invite code, even though I say use a permanent one, always seems to change after some time. It never seems to be the same one for very long for me. Now, but again, did he make death threats? No. Did he say something really shitty, in my opinion? Yeah. But it depends how you define death threats, I guess. It's still shitty. Don't get me wrong. His latest strategy is what I call the Hydra. He vowed to create multiple alt accounts, as well as get his followers to create even more. Or rename their accounts airbagged. He wants to overwhelm the system. Well, I mean, it seems, I don't know if it's happening, but there's a lot of airbagged accounts out there. You can always spot his main account because who he follows, interacts, and promotes it. I don't think I'm following any of the new airbagged accounts. I followed some of the old ones because I found, a portion of what he posted kind of interesting, but a follow doesn't equal an endorsement. You know what I mean? It really doesn't. For non-publics, they do expire after a while? Okay. Yeah, it's kind of like it gives you an option for, like, a time frame for the link or permanent, but I find even the permanent ones kind of mess up, but I don't know. Manually approving new members like Grums. Yeah, we'll get into that. So, the first one was taken down. The second one was taken down. A potential real alt. That's wild. that dude got in his head, so, you know, let's take a look at... I swear he had a couple more tweets around it, but maybe this was it. Okay, he's talking about the Hydra strategy again. Okay. No, this was probably it. Because I was thinking there was two conversations with the Hydra strategy. And this is the second one. Okay, followers create multiple ones. I want to get to the Ember stuff here. So he's talking about Airbagged here. To propagate his lies and hate. So, I'll be real. I can think of some lies that Airbagged has thrown out there around Grums. And he has a, you know, I'd be annoyed if I was him too, like the breast milk stuff. Like the divorce stuff, you know what I mean? Stuff that's just unnecessary. I know, Luke, right? And Wash Your Crack is not Alyssa. I know, he's delusional, man. And it's sad. It's like culture war brain rot. It really is. It really is. You always got to keep learning and keep growing. I hope he's doing that. You can check the real alts by checking their follower list. Top followers to look for. Mighty Keef. Wash Your Crack. Rumored to be Alyssa's alt. She's not. I don't know this guy. Space Ghost. I've only seen her just kind of appear. I think she's a gamer, but she's also like an OnlyFans girl. But the times I've seen her, she has like ratioed the shit out of people, and then she's just kind of disappeared, or at least from my visibility. And I don't know who this dude is. So he's like, watch who they're following. Which again, follows don't equal endorsements. Where was he talking about his this is where I want to get to, his Discord server. This shit was wild. I can't take it seriously as well. There's some terms and conditions stuff that I'm not clearing on Discord if even what he was doing is allowed to, like scraping. Yeah, as a source for anything is crazy. I would agree. I wouldn't use them for necessarily a source for anything. What I've seen them do that, you know, if I give them anything positive, I'd say they've dispelled some misinformation that I've been able to look at and be like, oh, yeah, you know, that makes sense. But then I'd see it with a whole bunch of attacks, so it really discredits it. But again, you know, I will say sometimes you got to step back, and if someone agrees with you and your takes, it's very easy to be like, oh yeah, you know, they're all right. There's plenty of things I disagree with them on. Probably politically and morally in the way certain things are handled. Again, I don't believe I've ever had a DM with them or anything. But yeah, I would agree as I kind of think through it and so forth. Because again, there's things that I would just never do that I wouldn't want to be like associated with. I don't want to be like someone to think of this person and then myself and be like, oh yeah, I tell people to kill themselves, although I'm not doing that. So, but again, it's very easy sometimes when people agree with you to kind of give them that free pass. And it takes a lot of, you know, inward thinking and, you know, humility to be like, okay, wait a second. Just because it feels nice that someone's agreeing with you, but you got to step back and be like, they might be full of shit in some cases. Or not full of shit necessarily. But yeah, I'm just rambling on. But I do want to talk about, this is where I think it gets wacky. Airbag doesn't have, you know, the people that are criticizing his game, some people that might be big fans of Airbagged might jump on that, sure. But a huge portion of them are mainly level people. I don't think, from watching the server for the last year, I think there has been, you know, some people that have jumped in there to cause shit. Sid's probably seen it. I've seen it. I don't think I've seen it incredibly frequently, but I've seen it a bit. Absolutely. Could that have come from him? I don't know. I've just been sitting there watching long enough and looking at evidence like, okay, this person's communicated with Grums. They've talked to them in chief chats. You know, they're actual backers. Like Mad Dog, numerous other ones that have been there within the server for years upon years that were dissatisfied. They pose as backers and act as concerned trolls. The thing is, his own backers are concerned enough. Sowing discord among legitimate backers and collecting information that takes out a contest or distorts. So I've never seen Airbag do this. Like, however, I've grabbed plenty of screenshots for videos from members, and I don't know what additional context he may be looking for. He wants his chance to tell the story, but he only wants to tell his side of it or something. I don't know. Hey, Emily. You intentionally bought cotton yarn made in Canada. Shout out to Lily Sugar Cream. You boycott. You sympathize with us. I appreciate it. Yeah. Rough economic times here, man. Holy shit. Stuff's getting expensive. My wife, she was getting some nail polish, and she usually orders it from a Canadian company. But because that Canadian company does their manufacturing in the States, they're charging the extra 25%. Sucks. Now, this is like, it's almost like he's trying to conflate the criticism of his game with with Airbag, the criticism around his game. And I don't think this Airbag has really spent much time in his Discord. He spent more time just kind of trashing him, you know, whether it be through, you know, various points that they're making, or, you know, retweeting someone else that might be critical or provide some feedback around this. So I found this conflating Airbag with the criticism that he's getting around Ember I found it confusing. As we prepare for new demos and website, we had to take some temporary extreme action. So he used Grok to create a Discord bot to crawl through a year of messages and run sentiment analysis and detect for concerned trolls. Then he had the script go through all active lurker accounts. Okay. Started joining. We had to cut deep. The automated AI nature some mistakes were inevitably made. No real backers were... Well, I mean, he ejected real backers manually already. I know, like, you know, Sid was having, you know, some back and forth with them. And, you know, I'm sure his argument would be, like, there was rule breaking. But there's, Aaron was another backer that was removed. Numerous have just left. There are perhaps 2 or 3 subscribers that have been rejected. Grok was invaluable. Was it that hard, though, to go through a list of names? Or, yeah. I don't know if it was a big enough project to really need to use AI, but hey, it's good experience, I guess. So for now, they have to be approved. They're going to announce when they start taking new applicants. So this is where I think we're going to see a new round of crowdfunding come up. New website, refreshed demo. That's probably by the end of the month. He said recently after March 20th, after the big Shadows launch. Yeah, I figured, Sid. He probably tried to argue something otherwise, but I don't think... Yeah, if I go back thinking of your conversation, it was heated, but yet respectful. Yeah. And if he bans a backer that's making payment... Yeah, like, you know what's silly? And, you know, I'm not blaming him for this. I signed up for Ember back in December, and I was like, okay, I'll stream it, and I did stream it. But I can't really cancel it without emailing him. Maybe I'll send him an email. He tried to get people to believe Nick Calandra was next Kotaku. Employee his Discord. Nick never worked for Kotaku. Okay, let me just get back to chat. Here, make sure I see what I'm missing. Sorry, I've just been reading the article on X. Yeah, Grums did say Airbag did soldiers made a porn game. Yeah, and you know, Combs, he may have mentioned this in the chat. He didn't actually even know who Airbag was until a few weeks ago. I never knew who Combs was until I saw Sid shared it, I think. Or from an account called Mellow something. That's where I heard it. Steam Centennials kind of shared it, and I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. It was wild. Yeah, today everyone was airbagged. It was wild. Throwing fits. So, moderate and detect bad actors. I don't think I've seen someone be so fragile to criticism. And, like, even a conversation around it. He's done one interview about Ember since August of last year. Probably even longer. I was thinking of that one with Upper Echelon. Multi-year hiatus, yeah, man. Kids will do that. So, they talks. Is he kissing up to Elon here? Grok could be an essential tool to find ban evaders. He wants to silence people pretty big time. And, you know, the comments are pretty wild. Like the hammer gifs, you know, I think they're a cartoon. I understand why he might feel threatened. But, man, I don't have a better, nicer way to say it. Why is he such a bitch? Like, for real, I don't think I've met a grown man that acts like this. Has he used kids as a shield? I think he's used them as an excuse. You know, he said his kids may have gotten sick. Absolutely. You know, life happens. I get that. And, you know, empathetic to that. But it's just the cockiness. And, you know, taking 2 years off, continuing to crowdfund for it. Hoping no one would notice. But, you know, the crazy thing that, you know, I took a deep look. Because, you know, Mark seemed to be very clear that I broke the law and said it very definitively to his large audience. Which, you know, to make such a statement without really being able to back it up, I found interesting. I can understand, you know, and you know, he doesn't, if someone says, like, you know, regular X user says that, or does their appropriate research, sure, say what you want, back it up, have a conversation. But making a bold statement to his large audience, like, you broke the law, really motivated me to see how Mark may be breaking the law. I'm not saying he is, but holy smokes. there could be a lot of places where he is. Again, the thing that blows me away is his mom being the CEO. Now, there could be a legitimate reason for that. I don't know if there is. I have trouble wrapping my head around why Mark, who loves being called the CEO, it's the first thing in his X profile, wouldn't want to be the CEO of his company. Obviously, and I don't want to say obviously, I don't know. Likely for, you know, to avoid some liability, but we'll see. We'll see. Crumb's allowed to make a tweet of a porn game? It's hypocritical. Yeah, it's let's see. I'm just taking again a look at the chat here. And other things are, if you crowdfund for something and it's not used towards the purpose of it, there's some FTC stuff, and there's some case precedents for that. The first case was like 10 years ago with a board game called the Doom something. Scenarios are all different. This guy just got the money and was like, yeah, I'm not going to do it. Now, Mark's not saying that necessarily, but there is also FTC pieces around, like, if crowdfunded money isn't used for what it said it's going to be used for, it can cause some problems. Well, I know there's one backer who stated that they're looking into a class action lawsuit. There were, you know, all indications, and I should send them a Discord message because I do have their information. They've been in the server since, I want to say it was 2016. You know, they had forum posts, all those pieces. You think Mark? Oh, yeah, we were never going to use the name Ember. Yeah, Sid is a long-time backer, if you're still here. Did you know about that? Were they going to use a different name? I never saw anything about that. And I think it's odd to say you're going to use a different name while putting up a huge fight for the name that you think was taken from you. Just realize that... Who is Kefeffels? Keffels. Sorry, Kefeffels. Exactly, exactly. I figure. And I don't, honestly, man, I don't really want Mark to get legal action. I don't want Mark's life to be necessarily difficult. I'm pissed at him for saying shit that has pissed me off, like personally about me. And I'm sure he's pissed at me for saying shit that has pissed him off. I've given him the opportunity to chat. I'd be happy to. But, you know that's not his style. I don't think I've seen him have a confrontational conversation by any means. Oh, you have a lot to say about that? The trademark? Mark basically has no leg to stand on. No, I wouldn't expect so. If he would have just spent like $100, I've got a Steamworks account. I can release a game right now, and I haven't named. I'm just RPG maker thing. He would have been probably not in this trouble unless someone actually went and tried to do some trademark stuff. The name change is one of the million things he's been talking about doing for a decade. Okay. I don't want to know who Keffels is. A lot more to the shit show. That's the short version. Okay. Oh, Gigabear. I asked Gigabear today. I called him Mr. Bear just to be polite and respectful. If I can get some details, because I'm so interested if this guy's under a and I don't know. He likely wouldn't tell me or what. But to go from this guy was trying to get the project like essentially canceled to being like, no, it's great, everything's wonderful. Hey, Frey, you're the guy I showed some grifters taking a rumor and go for it for money. Jeff Grubb and Jason Schreier actually need information to prove their leak is from a real insider. Well, yeah, most people wouldn't fall for an email with a name and a role and take it at face value. That's for sure. He admitted multiple times that this is not the final name of the game. So, yeah, that would go with the window. That's hilarious. Well, I don't know if Grumps paid him or refunded him. But now we get the Ember Cinematic Universe comes. Which is pretty funny. People have been asking Grumps to change. Yeah, it is a stupid name. Not your game, though. Your game, Ember's good. Defended the name Ember, and now it's suddenly a working name. How will that flow with the novel? It's so bad. I think he just started malding over Shadows. The bad thing, I would say the bad thing, the funny thing about Ember, this game, of course, quite graphic. One of these dudes' name is Yasuke, that is cucking him. I think he did say something else about Shadows a moment ago. What did he say? Assassin's Creed Shadows could have just had a Japanese protagonist. It does have a Japanese protagonist, doesn't it? The hell do I hear lo-fi? Turn that down a little bit. I mean, I'll play it. I'm not going to buy it. I'll get Ubisoft Plus for a month. And I probably will use what's-her-face. I forget. I can't pronounce her name. Or I've not seen it said. Neo? Yes, K. Okay. Thank you. As bad as Shadows is. Oh, yeah. It's kind of funny seeing corporations take little hits at Grumps. Now, I don't disagree with Grump's point, wondering, like, why did they lock down replies on something? They clarified it, I think, with saying, like, you know, we don't typically allow things on ads, and I think that's, I don't know if it's common for every company, but I've seen it on numerous ones. But I think the salty part was kind of funny. I'm glad you see us as a top publisher. Yeah, they keep forgetting her. I obviously forgot her name. It has a Japanese female protagonist and a black male protagonist. Granted, you're not a fan of Ubisoft and haven't enjoyed their games for years. Yeah. Like, I suffered through Star Wars just because, again, I'm a huge Star Wars nerd. I've got a lightsaber behind me. I've got, you know, I don't know if you can see a Stormtrooper tattoo. I've got a Millennium Falcon tattoo. I've got a much lower threshold for Star Wars content than I probably should. I'll watch most of it, but not all of it. Kenobi I thought was garbage. Absolute garbage. I never watched The Acolyte. I loved Andor, though. I loved Andor. I loved Season 1 of The Mandalorian. But it's been such a bad toss-up. But I'm pumped for Season 2 of Andor. Twitter auto-locks comments on ads. Yeah, I figured it's very common, Goro. You've been going through Odyssey and Valhalla Head of Shadows. Honestly, people were really too harsh in those games. Valhalla was loved, and didn't it make them a pile of money? Runs great Steam Deck. Okay. Don't hate you for this. You only watched The Phantom Menace. Hey, that's okay. I'll tell you about a night I watched The Phantom Menace. It was 1999, I think. I went to an Alanis Morissette concert. We were partying, and then I went to see the midnight showing of Phantom Menace. And boy, were we angry. You know, people getting mad about, you know, the new Star Wars movies. I don't think the anger that there is now, like, there was no one that left Phantom Menace at the time. Very few that were like, oh, this is wonderful. I sure love Jar Jar Binks. Give me some more of that. That's fucking great. Like, for real, I don't know if people's memories are a little wild. The third one was great. The Attack of the Clones is decent. The third one was awesome. But the first one, whew. You know, as time's gone by, I've grown to appreciate it a bit more. Like it for what it is. Let's see, you think there's a big problem is having so many streamers play games from genres that clearly not for them? At least Dunkey tells people that turn-based RPGs and him don't mix. Yeah. Let's see here. I'm going to change this to live chat. Just to make sure I've got everyone. Andor's great because it's made for adults. Yeah, and I'm an adult. I don't want to watch kid shows. That's why I found Kenobi felt like a kid show. Outside of, like... And same with the little dudes. What the fuck is the name of that show? The Star Wars show with the little dudes and the little girls. Skeleton Crew. Honestly, yeah, you can't start of Attack of the Clones. And Darth Maul was something cool we got out of Phantom Menace at very least. Yeah, Valhalla made crazy money, I thought. Like, my wife got it. She loved it. But she did find it too much. Hey, it's Cam Nuggets. How you doing, buddy? Oh, you're my goat, man. I appreciate you. Yeah, really looking forward to Andor. So, that's what we got going on with Grums. We'll come back to him, but this shit's kind of wild. I'm going to go to YouTube. Ignore my wrestling I was watching. Gotta go to my history. Yeah, this is crazy. So, I'll set the stage. Fanboy Wars. Do you guys know a guy named X-Vault? I was fighting with him a long time ago. But he's just a goofball. He called some guy who took great offense, as one would, a nonce. Now, apparently that means pedophile. It's not really a word that we use here, but I think in UK it's quite big. It's quite a popular word to insult someone with. So, this guy took great offense. He talks about it. Let's hear him. And he's thinking of taking legal action, or he was considering it. I won't say he's thinking of it. Saw this? Okay, cool.
What's up, everyone? Now, look, I wasn't going to cover this initially. I was just going to let this lie and leave it to rest. But over the last few days, it's really been starting to gnaw at me a little bit. It just doesn't sit well with me at all. So let me give you some idea what I'm talking about. So, as many of you know, I did a video on X-Fault Gaming. This video right there, whereby I'm just going through his video and rebuttaling some of the things he said. Anyway, this led to me and him having somewhat of an exchange on Twitter, which was inevitable. It happens every day. That's not big news, right? But because he was struggling to deal with the points that I was raising, my man X-Fault resorted to insults, which again, we expect on Twitter, right? But X-Fault called me a nonce. Now,
for there's got to be some Americans in here. I'm Canadian. Is that a word you use in the States at all? or Canada? I know I don't. Is it an exclusive kind of UK term? I don't know. At least, yeah, the one that you don't want to say here in Canada, don't call someone a goof. Do not call someone a goof. They will fight you. Because that means pretty much the same thing. Like, you might think, in the US, you might be like, oh, you silly goof, and it's all right, man. You go up to Ontario or Alberta, they'd be like, you goof, they'd be like, I'm going to fucking fight you, son. Yeah, calling people, yeah, a pedo and stuff is, yeah, it is, it's too much. Only 8 likes? I see 23 likes. Oh, I appreciate that, Sid. Thank you. But yeah, hit that like button if you haven't. That's super helpful. Gets more more of a visibility out there. Appreciate you. Goof means the same thing. Like, hold on. Let me see if I can look it up here. Goof Canada. Oh man, we'll probably get some wild stuff. What does goof mean in Toronto slang? Oh wait, that's a jail term. Man, you know, it's so abstract that there's nothing on the internet about it. But I tell you, my time in Manitoba, I learned all about that. I called some guy a goof, and he, like, went off with his group of friends. And I learned pretty quick that you don't call people goofs. You prefer the term diddly-doo-wah dumbass? PDF file's the term. Yeah. Twat is a bit... Yeah, twat. Yeah, I use twat sometimes. Maybe in the wrong context.
If you don't know what a nonce is, it's the worst possible thing you can call someone in the UK. This is what nonce means. So, when you call someone a nonce, you're calling someone a PDF. You're calling someone a, you know, pedo. You're basically insinuating, directly, publicly accusing me of being involved with children.
And I'll say, you know, if we're talking about Mark Kern as well, like as we were earlier, that kind of bothers me is, you know, too many people call him a pedophile. Now, I have my own umbrage with some, like, lolly stuff that looks like kids that he shared, but it doesn't take it to that line of thinking that for me, I guess. I just think it's gross.
It's the worst possible thing you can call someone. Now, my response to this was, well, I'll show you. This was my response.
Oh, no. Not about him. This is about X-Vault.
So I called him out for calling me such a thing. I thought it was a really strange thing to say, especially since I'd heard in the grapevine that apparently he once called Alex something very similar. His defense to calling me this was a strange one, and this is what really exposes him for being the toxic, horrible person that he really is. So his defense to this was basically to say he didn't realise what a nonce was. Now, there's a few layers to this I want to unpack. Firstly, why not just leave the point as...
I do agree, because X-Vault is one of the dumbest people I've ever heard. And I could see him making that mistake. But I've also seen... I think the worst thing I've ever seen X-Vault say is there was a video of a robbery of a GameStop. And you've seen these guys drive away, and he's going through the article. His response was, yep, not one Xbox taken. And yeah, there's so much to criticize Grumps for. The breast milk thieving did not overlap with his employment. It is just, it's something people kind of clown on him for. But again, there's just so much real stuff that's wild to clown on him for.
As it was. This isn't Spider-Man. Expectations shouldn't have been that high. Why not? Why throw in the you nonce at the end of it? That right there, despite what you think the word means is a different thing, right? You are accountable for what you say, right? That's one level to this. Secondly, he calls me stupid time and time again, states I have a low IQ, while then admitting to being like a 5-year-old, just throwing around words that he doesn't know what they mean, right? But the most important part of all this is when he realised, let's just say for the sake of argument, In fact, let me show you his tweet. This was what he said in response to finding out what it meant.
Bam Bam
Now,
Bigelow from Team U?
Okay, let's just say, for the sake of this argument, he's telling the truth, and he didn't know what nonce meant. Let's just assume he thought it meant something else. When you find out
A speed dude
that
up here.
you've inadvertently called someone that, with all, that publicly, you've called someone a PDF, you've called someone a child, right? What should be your first response to finding out that? You would imagine that any decent human being would immediately apologise. We're just having a conversation about gaming over here, right? We have different opinions, X4. I called you out for some of yours. So you find out that you've calling me a nonce means something that is horrible, something that is the worst thing possible you could call someone. And X-Vault's immediate reaction wasn't to apologise to me, wasn't to try and make it right. No, it was to instead call me something else. Oh, didn't know what it meant, so how about I call you this instead? That's the sort of man X-Vault is. It's
not a bad point. Yeah, just an apology would have been fine. Don't have to add another insult to it.
absolutely
What?
disgusting.
Lawrence Taylor for the title. That was WrestleMania 10? 11?
So yeah, upon finding out that that's what it meant.
Wait, it wasn't a title match, was it? Sorry, I'm getting lost in the wrestling there.
He called me something else entirely. And then he proceeded to block me on Twitter after that, and then delete his exchange. Then delete the tweet of him calling me a nonce, scared that it might get back to him somehow. Well, it is going to get back to you somehow, because it's a disgusting thing to say. And the fact that you didn't apologise for it makes me wonder if you said it inadvertently or not. Do you know what I mean? Because surely if you didn't mean to say it, X-Fault, you would have apologised for it. The fact that you didn't apologise for it makes me wonder if you actually meant what you said, and then just didn't then maybe thought, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't be saying that, and tried to delete the evidence of you saying it. It hasn't sat right with me, and anyone following you, subscribing to you, and supporting you should really have a serious think about the type of man that you are. Because you are the worst, X-Fault. You are the worst of the worst. Bro, you're a terrible, terrible individual. You have so much love for that little plastic box that if anyone dares disagree with you, they're a shill, they're a grifter, they're fake, they're lying, or they're a nonce. You, my friend, don't deserve this platform. You don't. So I apologise for the negativity in today's video, but it was just like I said, it was gnawing away at me. And the fact that he couldn't apologise really tells us everything he's all about his character. So anyway,
I can't blame him for being that upset. That would be frustrating. Let's see X-Fault. I made a video on him like way before the Grum stuff. It was about Helldiver stuff, I think. Oh God, where is he? Ugh. Oh, let's see. Does Alex take the hard L? I'm pretty sure this doesn't work how he expects. Who is X-Fault? He's like just a small PlayStation fanboy YouTuber. Here, you can get to know him here for a sec, Sid. He's quite the piece of work.
Awaken to a world of wonder in
He gets clowned on quite a bit.
Final Fantasy XIV Online.
I don't give a fuck about console sales. But when I find out that your precious PlayStation 5 is not even outselling...
Yeah, Koala Man.
You know why?
I'm petty, bitch. I'm
You know
not
why?
you. You're the one.
Because they care.
You're the
Because
one
they
who cares.
care. Because they care.
I'm gonna mock you and laugh at you, and I'm gonna talk about your 1.5 million out of 75 for
Point
Astrobot.
five,
That little
75.5.
kid
Hey, don't forget that point 5.
that 0.5, or was it 2 million now out of 75.5 mil? Right? Like, come on, man. Of course I'm gonna mock you for your console sales or your
Well,
game
you're
sales.
clowners.
You talk about that.
Here's what I don't get. Like, I find social topics really interesting, like shit around this culture war nonsense. It's fascinating. But I don't get people that have such loyalty to corporations talking about console sales like they're fucking shareholders. They could be. I don't know. Or like they're a CEO, which they're not likely. Hey, honestly, yeah, surprisingly it's this many views. I guess on some videos. Let's hear what he has to say, though. I'm not listening. I can't do 20 minutes of it,
That's where
though.
the gun. See, you point the gun, I take it, put it back on you. You know, like,
Here.
well, fuck about.
As you just seen from the opening.
Heck, I'll laugh anyway.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another
Ugh.
Xbox video. Xbox here, and today we got that sweet salt for you. A lot going on in the world of Xbox, a lot going on in the world of shilling and grifting, as you just seen from the opening. Lots of excuses about exclusives matter, they don't matter. Sales matter, they don't matter. What I meant was this, but actually what I really meant...
Yeah, it's like, you know, I like PlayStation as well. I'm probably more of an Xbox guy now. Just because, for me, it's been so convenient going from PC to console. But, like, loyalty to a company and being like, well, I don't know if I'm going to buy this game because it only sold 800,000 copies. How could you enjoy that game if it didn't sell this many million? Or enjoy this console? I do like the Xbox infrastructure, though. The ability to be like, I'm going to play a game on my computer and then go to my sofa and play something there. It works well for me. I do wish PlayStation had that. Yeah, Alex is fine. He's entertaining. He does a good job at what he does.
Was that, all sorts of stuff like that in the theme of things today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump to it. Alright, so like I said, what I'm going to do is get right to the salt here, of course. Now, this is an oldie, but a goodie. I wanted to bring this back up because, again, we're at the point with, again, we're talking about Colt Eastwood. He's going on the moniker that exclusives don't matter anymore. He's going in that path.
Oh, my
right?
God.
That's the PC refugee. It's still the pro Xbox thing. It's now exclusives don't matter in a way. So I just wanted to bring this up. If you did miss this, well, here you go. As you can see,
I just can't wrap my head around caring. Like, if we're talking exclusivity, I want games to be available on as many platforms as they can. That's about it. And I do think exclusivity, for the most part, is going away. However, there's still going to be some of it. The biggest game coming out this year is going to be a console exclusive, at least for the year, I assume, which is, if it does come out this year, GTA 6. Colt did cap for Redfall. Ugh. It was rough. Redfall was rough. All this shit about cobbling games together. Read Grum's newest tweet? Oh no, but we're really interested in X-Vault. Oh, I guess we'll have to go. Sorry, X-Vault. Which one? Around Tetris? Oh, he thought Starfield was the first game in space, and then it was Tetris? That's funny. Well, he was just featured in RT News. He should be okay with that. No, the things... You know, you can always find something good in a bad game. You can't always, but... Oh my god, that's funny. The call landed to my desk and I forwarded it to the CEO. So he forwarded it a call? That's cool. That's funny that Tetris was the first one, though.
Blade is Xbox exclusive, sucka.
He just shouldn't say sucka. He was off by like 6 years. Oh yeah, with Redfall. Again, the environment was cool. The ambience was cool. But the game was just... It just didn't really have much of a point, I found. Like, you were going around, like... I played it for maybe 10 hours. But yeah, there's games that... Listen, I almost 100% it Forspoken. Out of spite. It was bad. It was bad, like... But, it's almost like... When I was playing Avowed, parts of it reminded me of Forspoken because I disliked everything about Avowed except the combat. And then I thought about Forspoken. I disliked everything about Forspoken except the combat. But I had fun with the combat in Forspoken and the traversal. But otherwise, I was like, eh. Yeah, and that's a balance, right? Like, if you're a studio, you've got to make money. Like, there's ones that have, like... Remedy is a studio that just gets by, I think. And they're lucky that people appreciate kind of, you know, Sam Lake, and I think they're likely a very experienced studio. And I think they're finally starting to get a bit ahead. Like, they've got the Max, you know, they got the Max Payne remakes coming out, Control 2. They've got that shooter coming out of Game Pass. Firebreak, which might be all right. Yeah, like Outer Worlds, I never finished it, but at very least I found it kind of fun, in the context of like, it didn't take itself too seriously. It had a sense of humor at very least. I didn't find Avowed had much of a sense of humor. Hey, Nasmer, how you doing, man? But yeah, Outer Worlds, like, at least felt to me like it had some personality. I didn't see that with Avowed at all. Oh, what's
With
this guy
Just
talking about?
by Xbox behind Blade himself there, referencing, of course, the Blade game being made under an Xbox studio here, of course. And at the time, even from the beginning, we didn't know if this is going to be exclusive to Xbox, timed exclusive to Xbox, whatever the case may be. Now, more than likely, everything's coming to PlayStation as Microsoft. Some are shy about doing that, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Shy about talking about...
Okay, enough of him. Enough of this guy. But I'm having fun talking about the games. The issues with Alan Wake 2 is the largest selling survival horror game was Resident Evil with 50 million sales, but best in that genre didn't have 20 million sales. Yeah, and being sold just on Epic and consoles had to be limiting. Like, it really did. It really did. Like, I think Steam must account a lot for sales, but people that are trying to measure how successful games are, especially something like Ubisoft, is a weird one because they have their own product, like whatever it's called, Ubisoft Plus. Steam sales will probably be a good indication. One thing I've heard, and now I've heard a few things. You know, I've heard I want to say Stuttering Craig at some point said pre-orders were low, but that could have been for Dragon Age. I can't remember, so I don't want to quote that. But I did see something else that said pre-orders were up there with Odyssey for Shadows. And you know what's wild that I don't think anyone's really considered or hasn't been considered that very much? Is that I believe the massive amount of coverage may not have the effect of hurting the sales as much as people think. In fact, it may have given the game a whole bunch of free advertising. If it's good, it'll work out good for them. If it's bad, well, I think they're screwed either way. Airbag soldier. Yes, we're fighting the war. Yeah, apparently we're all airbagged. Man, anyone that disagrees with Grums is airbagged. It's just wild. Like, they have to create enemies or bucket you into it. Like, even when I was looking at videos from Smashgate, that's what I'm calling it, with the fake leak such. The woke activist shit and, like, creating political enemies shit is just, it's off the hook. It's wild. It's wild. 17 hours. Yeah, like, you know what? For my first 10, 15 hours, I was having a good time. I don't want to discourage you, Plume. I hope you have a good time. But I found it just kind of drug on. You know what? I'll still likely play the DLC, though. That's funny. Because it will be, if it is on Game Pass. If I have to pay for it, I don't know. Yeah, some of the best games ever made were not successful commercially. Yep. My favorite game, I think, of all time, is Max Payne 2. Was not successful commercially. Another great game, Max Payne 3. You know what's hard to believe? Max Payne 3 almost fucking crippled Rockstar. If GTA 5 didn't do well, and we know it broke records, they would have been in trouble. Max Payne 3 is the reason why we don't have Bully 2. If you want more details about that, you know what? We're going to mix it up. You want some Rockstar stuff that's old? And some Insider stuff? This is one of the best, and some of the hardest information to get. Do you know how hard it is to hear something from a Rockstar, either former employee or current one? This is all about Bully 2. Let's, you guys want to chill and watch this? I find this is one of the best, most interesting insights into an on-released Rockstar game that I've ever seen.
I did Redemption. Back in January of 2022, I managed to get an interview with one of the people who worked on Bully 2 around 2013. As many of you know, Bully 2 has been cancelled multiple times, mainly because it's a very low priority compared to games like Grand Theft Auto 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2. In this video, you're gonna get almost 12 minutes of non-stop insight into what Bully 2 had to offer at this stage of development, what the development process of the game was like, and a little bit about how Rockstar operates. This really felt like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, so I made sure to have a list of topics nearby. Topics that I personally found interesting and
Let me know how the volume is. I did turn it up there a little schism. Appreciate you. Rockstar never talks publicly because of all the skeletons in their closet. Yeah. My channel started as almost exclusively Rockstar stuff. I covered Red Dead Online. I did data mining through OpenIV. Also, you believe Craig's sources for low pre-orders are as connects to local stores for physical copies? I don't think that's far-reaching in big picture perspective. No, I don't think so either. This video is awesome, though. I'm glad to share it with you. If you like Rockstar stuff or Bully stuff, this is like a Bully channel. This guy got a development kit, a Rockstar development kit with a I forget the name, not a beta version of Bully, but a debug version of it. Yeah, the strip clubs, abusive cult. Rockstar's was a crazy company, a lot of changes.
Topics that I've seen a lot of people in the Rockstar Games community speculate about. Out of respect for the person that I spoke to, I've decided to keep them anonymous, and because of this, I've replaced their voice entirely in this video with a text-to-speech. Nonetheless, everything you'll hear is verbatim taken from the conversation, so with all that said, sit back and enjoy.
So, just give me the first bullet point and then I'll give you a short-form answer.
Oh, come on.
Okay, so, Tom Henderson tweet. Like, is there anything to it? I assume you saw it.
Tom Henderson, I did not see the tweet. If you can give me reference?
Okay, I could quote it.
Yeah.
So he said, Bully 2 was expected as a potential surprise reveal at the Game Awards last week after some people were...
So let me stop you now. I don't have any insight into what they're developing now, so I couldn't say either way if it's true or not. Let me give you the background on what I've played, and what is real. I played the Mad Doc original version from 2013, so it was being developed in 2013 and it was 6 to 8 hours of a vertical slice. That vertical slice encountered Jimmy looking a little bit older. So if you think like the Into the Spider-Verse new trailer, you see that Miles Morales looks a little bit older. That's how Jimmy looked. Jimmy looked a little bit older. He was a little bit taller. He still had the same build, still had the same scars, facial structure, but aged at least 6 months. It was gonna take place after the summer after Bulworth Academy first year, and he was back in his hometown. Story beats wise, they already had I want to say 16 missions. The missions that I played were like,
That's insane to me, like 16 missions for an on-release game, but it shows the massive investment that Rockstar is willing to make on like prototyping and such. Also, Friday Night Grifting was your plan for stream title, legal all avenues to reclaim it, but it was also just a working title, so you'll change it. You can have it, man.
You had to rescue kids from like a summer Camp Krusty style, so you had like full Native American garb. You were dressing up. It was a lot of unique outfits, similar to the first game, so you could dress up as a Native American chief. You had like a tomahawk, that was gonna be a weapon. You had boomerangs. There was a bunch of stuff that they were experimenting with. Nothing of the sort was final, so working at Rockstar you have to understand that nothing is final until Sam and Dan say it's final. So we were building. The reason why I was the lead on it was because a lot of the influences that we had working with Mad Dog, which ended up being Rockstar New England, which ended up being subsequently shuttered, they get feedback from us. So New York runs everything. North runs dev, but New York runs North. Anything that goes anywhere, Rockstar San Diego, Rockstar Toronto, Rockstar London, Leeds, North. Everything is run from where Sam and Dan are at any given time, and that's always New York. So having that understanding, you need to understand the game was like I said, I gave the quote 6 to 8 hours playable. They didn't quote me as the lead because it's unannounced, but I can tell you right now since it was unannounced it's on my LinkedIn. They're never gonna admit to it, so no one's gonna admit to it, but I was the lead on it. I'm not gonna...
So they had a 6 to 8 hour like demo of this.
Give you the names of the other leads, the other like producers, and any of that stuff cause it's not. It's ether. If it exists on a hard drive and no one's looking at it, and if they improve upon it you'll be able to see from the reveals if they have something. And if they built on it, they built on it from code that they reworked possibly after they did RDR2 stuff. So that being said, go ahead. Next bullet point.
Okay, so I just want to ask real quick, like, was there anything planned for how the game began and ended? Like, is there any beginning?
No, it was pure sandbox.
Okay.
If you think about it, like I mentioned, it was fully rendered, fully realized, so the idea, the middle chunk of the most important parts of the game loops were there. You had go-kart races, you had lawnmower efficiency, sort of like you got a Molons under time constraint. So like all the mini games you have in GTA but in a cooler Goonies and like weird, summer vacation, Americana summer vacation style. So you...
I've done a couple videos on Bully 2, but this was concept art that was actually released for Bully 2. That was shared by one of the artists. Speaking of Sam and Dan, how worried are you about GTA 6 being the first major title without them at the helm? Well, Sam's still there, but Dan's not there anymore. So Sam is still the CEO of Rockstar. I'm not worried because I think Red Dead 2 is like my favorite game of all time. And a lot of that team is still there. And when I say a lot of that team, Rockstar's huge. If you would have asked me 6 months ago how big Rockstar was, I would have been so wrong at the number until I read it. Rockstar is like 5,000 flipping employees. That means that, I don't know if all 5,000 of them are currently working on GTA 6, but I'm sure at some point they were, and that's insane to me. Make sure to holler at you when you're about to break the details in a Dead Space 2 remake. Hey, maybe we'll find something on it. I've never played the Dead Space games, honestly. Yeah, the thing is, here's my thoughts on GTA 6. It's going to be different. I think it's going to be closer to Red Dead 2 than it is GTA 5. And when I say that, I do think it's going to be a little safer. But I'll still really like it because I've always loved Rockstar games. That said, I'm disappointed that the only Rockstar games that we've gotten, it feels like over the past, since 2013, has been GTA 5, Red Dead 2, and various iterations of them. I do miss when we had like the run of, Max Payne 3, LA Noire, GTA 4, Bully, RDR1. But we're just having like these huge gaps. And probably because they spend time doing this.
You have to picture it as the world was super vibrant. It was super green. It was the opposite of the gray and dark. It was super green. A lot of the concept art is real, so that stuff was already pre-built in from Mad Doc, Rockstar New England. I hate calling them Rockstar New England cause that's stupid. I think Mad Doc is a cooler name. Whatever leaked from Mad Doc, that was all realized in this vertical slice. You got to do beekeeper missions and then you would gain immunity from bee stings.
That's
you
cool.
could use the beehives as weapons. There was the bow and arrow with like a plunger at the
Have I seen Nikki Jakey's video on Rockstar's game design is outdated? I may have, but I don't disagree with the sentiment. Player agency versus developer expectations. I thought a lot about that. It's kind of like in Red Dead 2. You feel like you'd have these wide assortment of ways to solve a mission. In some places you do. But too often it's like, mission failed, you strayed off the path. Their mission design is outdated, and that's something that needs to be improved in GTA 6. I know these are two different genres, but Baldur's Gate 3 really kind of opened my eyes up big time to the diverse amount of possibilities to kind of solve things or do things in games. Even Starfield did to a point. Definitely not as much. They are time consuming. I think Red Dead 2 has an exceptional story. I loved it. Thought it was great. GTA 5, I was kind of disappointed in it. I like 4 more. Oh yeah, Take-Two and Rockstar are putting their eggs in a single basket. They're literally... Here's a bold take. GTA 6 is going to sell like crazy. I do think if we measure things years down the road, it's not going to be as successful as GTA 5. I think they caught lightning in a bottle with GTA 5, mainly due to the online service. Yeah, the big open world sandbox. Absolutely, Nasmer. Yeah, and that's big complaints about, at least the GTA and Red Dead series. I'd love to see them try something else. Like, imagine getting a new franchise from them, something different.
The end of it, there was non-lethals, so it was still gonna be a teen game. There was nothing overtly. They were gonna skirt the line between being teen and mature. So he did have I'm the one that they quoted for the bulge in his pants. He did have the bulge in his pants. So when he walked around in his underwear at Bulworth, there was no bulge, but this had bulge. So what is a mature game and a teen game? When Bully Original came out, got sort of skirted in this one. So they were gonna be a little bit more risque and push the line as to what a teen versus mature game would be. And we would automatically have to get feedback on whether or not something was was overtly, like, compared to other games. Was it overtly sexualized, violent, or all that other stuff? You were gonna be able to have pets as friends, dogs, so the
Nice.
dogs will remember you. You could treat dogs well. It's the same that you see in RDR2. Pretty much all the ideations that came from the feedback that went into RDR2 for pets and people remembering you and missions that you do and then they get remembered later on were all ideations from Bully 2. It was gonna be cool. It was cool. I'm probably one of the only, like there's probably like a handful, not even two handfuls, one handful of people that played this. It was probably the Housers, myself, and the producers that were on it. So, and whoever was at Mad Doc that was working on it obviously, but in terms of people that played it fully realized, like this.
Take care, Nasmer. And yeah, with GTA, have a good one, man. And with GTA 6, the biggest game ever and the last biggest game ever. Oh yeah, because if they've been developing it this long, what do you think the budget of that is? It's more than 100 million. It's more than 200 million. It's got to be more than 300 million. I bet you it's more than... I bet you it's... Man, I don't know. And I can admit, probably maybe being wrong with this. Is it a $700 or $800 million game? I don't flippin' know. It's expensive, though. But they're going to make it back in one day. Again, I think long term, I don't know if we'll be successful as 5. But I do think they're going to make at least $1 billion on the first day. Or the first couple days. A more
Is
billion.
the vertical, like that was ready. But yeah, anything else? Next slide.
So something that like people will kill me if I don't ask about is clicks. You know, like the
Oh, you mean factions?
Yeah,
so the
bad player.
factions, the faction system was gonna, you said cliques. They were called factions. The factions that they had were gonna be the prefects, so that you could actually be like a camp counselor instead of being like part of the, like I said, we were building ideations. These were items that were getting on the cutting room floor, but they did have the faction system. So the faction system was gonna be built into the AI that Mad Doc has built up for the remembrance system. So if you're working on one faction and you do something that adversely affects your faction, they kick you out the faction. That's how it would work. It sounds super technical, but it really wasn't. It was just a script that said if X then Y, if C then you're and you get kicked out of the script. It caused a lot of problems early on and the vertical didn't have it fully fleshed out.
I've got to tell you, I've dug into Rockstar code through OpenIV and some other tools, and some of the shit you'll find in there is so funny. For anyone that's played Red Dead Online, there's an island, or if you played Red Dead 2, there's an island called Guarma. And in Red Dead Online, you were not able to get there, or you were able to get there for a while, but then they blocked it. And if you got too close, it would send you to Saint Denis. Anyways, if you go to the code, there's a little piece of it that's like, don't know how you got here, don't care, back to Saint Denis with you. Like, it legit says that within the code.
But yeah, there was a faction system, there was a remembrance system, and there was a sort of light Mass Effect style choice or good versus evil playthrough. Same as the first game, but it was more in depth than ever before because Bully 2 was a PlayStation 2 game, or Bully Original was a PS2 game that I worked on. I was a lead on the Xbox 360 and Wii U Press Scholarship Edition, so the Wii port had like the motion controls, other side missions that you could use the motion controls with. So I worked on all that.
I actually have a dev kit from Rockstar New York from around that time with a build of Bully Scholarship Edition on it.
That's dope. That's dope.
So Sean Lee mentioned he was possibly going to do the soundtrack. He said that around like 2008.
Yeah, it was bare bones. It reused the assets from Bully 1. It still had that funky boom 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 boom. It had that bass line and all that. But it was I want to say a more stripped down of Sean Lee's cause it was temp. It was temp. Nothing was finalized, so the vert slice was super bare bones in the aspects of what was gonna be. Like we were gonna get soundtracks. We were gonna like everything. It was gonna be merchandise. Like I have the Bully dodgeballs. I have the Bully bat. The cricket mallet even though you can't play cricket in the game. Like I have a whole bunch of Bully. So like, it's weird to like see what they were gonna do at what was in and have it not come to fruition. But if they have something in the pipe that's fine. I doubt that they have it. I wanna say that. I think their bread and butter is trying to fix Red Dead Online and continue with GTA Online and then work on 6. That's it. That's what I know is happening.
Okay, so you have like no hopes for Bully 2.
I do, I would be the opposite of who I am as a person to say that it's never gonna happen. I am gonna say that the version that I played is never gonna happen.
Okay, yeah.
So there will be something subsequential. I don't necessarily think it's gonna be what I played. And what I played was awesome. It was the PlayStation 2 version but like kicked up like 150%. It was way awesome and like, they would have to make allusions to like, if it comes out now they're gonna have like Stranger Things callbacks and like Stand By Me callbacks. Like I said they had the Goonies callbacks, the Camp Krusty from The Simpsons callbacks. They had the Porky's callbacks with the underwear and the panty raids and like that. There was gonna be panty raids. There was gonna be breaking and entering. So you were gonna do B&Es. The cops were gonna be involved. So if you get arrested too many times you start losing a lot of stuff. So it was a lot of breaking and entering gameplay around it. But it was more condensed into the environment of having that tongue-in-cheek like, oh, this kid is gonna go to juvie or whatever. But there was no juvie missions or anything like that. It was more like, it's like the prefect system. If you get caught by a prefect you end up in the slammer, or if you get caught by the local PD, you end up in the slammer.
Why are the cops giving you like the mandible claw there? Like they're Mick Foley.
You get bailed out, and you lose.
Hey, thanks for dropping in, Dead Scene Media. Appreciate ya. And I'm sure a bad player, it's well over $1 million. Or $1 billion.
You lose all your. So there was gonna be a cost benefit.
Okay. I want to ask you, like, did any other characters from the original game make a return?
Yeah, Petey's in it. I don't know if he is, a bunch of his other, the mainline girlfriends. There was gonna be allusions to Gary being like a big bad, like behind things. But like I said, nothing was finalized for the big bad. But everyone was returning. Everyone that was important in the main storylines, like the teachers. You were gonna see them in like lounge, like you could see them in there. I forget the name of the teacher. The science teacher, the big African-American professor. Or the guy that, the teachers that you saw in the artwork were gonna be scattered around the town. And they were gonna be sitting in like lounge wear, wearing like, you know, Hawaiian shirts and shorts and like Birkenstocks with socks. And you would try and approach them and they'd be like, school's out, Hopkins, get outta, you know, they would you off. So that was in. That was cool. Like, oh, you see this guy. But like, it was not to bring you back to the original. It was to bring you to the next sequence, which is the new game. You don't want to go back to school. You're in preparation to your next year. So everything that you were gonna build was gonna build to your next year in school. The classes were, like I said, replaced with jobs or time sinks, like mowing the lawn, beekeeping.
So it sounds like Bully 2 didn't take place during the school year, or at least this version of it.
Go-kart racing, so you were gonna have like a career as like a semi-pro go-karter, like the Little Rascals type stuff. It wasn't fully that you were gonna have classes. I had made a suggestion that they have like summer school, like that you fail, but there was no way to track it from scholarship. So, how would you build that? Maybe he takes extra credit, like for a 100% of the game, cause I was 100%ing. Every single Rockstar game I've 100%ed. It's insane. So, the 100% marker for the achievement, I wanted it to be called extra credit. And the extra credit was you end up finding a place somewhere in the world and you end up taking a course. And it's all the skills that you built. Skills that you built throughout the game put into one test. And it's like physical activities. Like you gotta shoot targets and all that other stuff. But you only find it if you're at the end game. Like post-end game. Like, you've done everything and the only you gotta do is like get collectibles. Do the rest of the jobs and blah blah blah. And then you unlock the class. And then the class gives you the 100%. That was a pitch that I floated. And there was a lot of other people who were floating that as well.
Okay. So, seasons. Any seasons?
It was intro of spring and intro of fall. There was no winter. It was tail end of spring. So like little dwindlances of some like. In the morning you could see like dew on the grass. Like the individual blades of grass system was phenomenal. It was better than what it looked in RDR2, surprisingly, but they had a really big, like naturalized system of the trees and the foliage, flowers, trees, grass. The RDR2 stuff is also phenomenal, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was built off of the ideations of that. But yeah, they were gonna have all those systems. So, yeah, final 2 minutes.
So, any Easter eggs you guys had planned?
I think I just mentioned them. The teachers being in the lounges. I gotta look back on. I took some notes before we had this call. Easter eggs would be the dodgeball that you get as a physical item. I think the outfits. All of the outfits from the school were gonna be in your wardrobe as well. Unlockable at the end game, or the new variants of them. So you'll have the Halloween costume
P.S. If you've never played Bully, you definitely should.
like from Karate Kid. I don't remember Easter eggs. Like I said, the vertical slice wasn't gonna have the vertical slice we were gonna build on. So it was like, what do you want this to be? And we were just given 25 to 35 pages per person. So I gave tons of ideas of my life to the studio. And you know, I moved on. I stopped working there after the tail end of Max 3. Max 3 was very difficult. I didn't see any of 5. I enjoyed 5 immensely not having worked on it. And RDR2 not having worked on either.
Ronnie McNuggies? Oh, I want some Ronnie McNuggies. Sounds good.
Either of them. But what really broke me was L.A. Noire. That was like a nightmare. And
thanks for stopping in, Demi. Appreciate you. Enjoy your McNuggies.
Max 3 was so dope, but like no one gave a shit about it. People are gonna go back and be like, this is a hidden gem because that game is phenomenal. It's one of the most hyper-violent. It's like playing John Wick. Like it's John Wick before John Wick. And I don't understand why it got such a bad rap, but I guess people didn't like that it was like 70 gigs when it came out. But yeah, that's it. That's all I got, brother.
It's pretty safe to assume that I'm never gonna get a chance like this again.
So I'd recommend, if you have a chance, if you're a fan of Bully, This guy does some of the deepest dives into it, which are really cool. Like, as I mentioned, he has like a dev kit that he bought like online for Bully. That was pretty damn cool. All right, where are we at? I am gonna probably take off short stream. I've got some shawarma I'm gonna eat. Max Payne 3 got a bad rep because it was stolen. I know, like, here's what happened. Max Payne 1 did really well. Rockstar acquired the license, and Remedy created Max Payne 2, but Rockstar still published it. It didn't sell well. Rockstar was probably like, all right, I'm going to take the reins. And then it failed miserably. Like, Max Payne 3 did not meet expectations. It may take two reevaluate their own financial forecasting and such. Yeah, it's... Did they steal it, though? Is there more that I don't know there, Schism? Which is possible. I have a couple Max Payne 3 videos on my channel. Like, I've done a good chunk of research into it. Oh, yeah, the Disco Elysium stuff is weird. That stuff is wild. Soul Reaver was stolen from its creators? What? I'm going to have to take a look into these. Yeah, Legacy of Kain was something. Yeah, Max Payne, I know, Sam Lake's character, but also, it's a fusion of Sam Lake's character and James McCaffrey. Rest in peace. Just, I don't know why I was kissing one to the sky, but R.I.P. James McCaffrey. That man has a legendary voice. But I'm going to dip myself, guys, just a short stream. I'm realizing after I talk for a good solid hour, my voice is starting to go. But I got some shawarma to eat. I appreciate you spending some time with me to talk about kind of the Grum's meltdown, a couple other things. All that stuff. I appreciate all of you. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening and weekend.